Barbara Glanz, spreading contagious enthusiasm in customer service.
Do you believe enthusiasm is contagious? All right, do you like to be around enthusiastic people? Okay, ask yourselves this. Am I contagiously enthusiastic about the importance of the work that I'm doing? Because especially if you're a leader and you're not contagiously enthusiastic, how do you expect everybody else to be?
Barbara Glanz is a certified speaking professional who works with organizations to improve morale, retention, and customer service, and with people who are ready to rediscover joy in their work and in their lives. Barbara Glanz, spreading contagious enthusiasm, one organization and one person at a time.
We've talked about leadership. We've talked about the difference that one person can make. I want to tell you a story about one person who is truly a leader. I was asked 5 years ago to speak to 3,000 employees of a large grocery store chain, and they brought everybody. After I'd spoken, I always give my home phone number to every audience. I had a young man who called me, and he told me his name was Johnny, that he was a bagger in one of the stores, and he was a person of Down syndrome. He said, "Barbara, I liked what you said." And he said he went home that night and he asked his dad to help him with the computer. And he said we set the computer up into 3 columns. And he said from that night on, every night that he goes home, he finds a thought for the day. And he said, if I can't find one I like, I think one up. Then he and his dad type it 6 times on a page. He prints out 50 pages every single night, cuts them out, signs his name on the back. And the next day, for every person's groceries he bags, he puts a thought for the day in the bag. Now, about a month later, the store manager called me. He said, "Barbara, I want to tell you what happened this morning." He said, "When I went out on the floor about 9:30 this morning, the line at Johnny's checkout was 3 times longer than any other line." He said, "I went ballistic. I was yelling, 'Get more people out there, get more lanes open.'" And he said, the customer said, no, we want to be in Johnny's lane. We want the thought for the day." So who do you think is the most important person in that whole store? He said, one woman came up and said, "I only used to shop once a week, but now I come in every time I go by because I want the thought for the day." He said 3 months later, the store manager called me back again, and he said, "Barbara, you and Johnny have transformed our store." He said, "Now in the floral department, when they have a broken off flower or an unused corsage, we used to just throw them away. He said, now they go out on the floor and they find an elderly woman or a little girl, and they pin it on them." He said, "One of our meat packers loves Snoopy, so he ordered 50,000 Snoopy stickers, and every time he packages a piece of meat, his meat gets a Snoopy sticker on it." Now, I said, "I don't know about dog stickers on meat." And folks, that's a true leader. And if little Johnny can do it, there is no reason why every one of us in this room and out there in our audiences can't do it. Whenever I work with an audience, I have 3 guarantees. Number 1, I want to whack their thinking, and I want them to leave looking at things a little bit differently than they did when they came in. Number 2, I want to give people a real personal sense of mission that they can make a difference. It doesn't matter how much change is going on around them, what their boss is doing, what their coworkers are doing. I want them to understand that they have a choice in every interaction that they have. And number 3, I want to get their creative juices going. And I want them to leave with at least 6 to 8 immediately applicable action ideas.
Employee motivation and retention.
7% of 1,200 workers left their last job because their supervisor or manager did not say good morning to them. Folks, it's little things that we want from one another. So bottom line is, people don't quit organizations, they quit. Yeah, how many of you have left a job because of a bad boss sometime in your life? How many of you stayed in a job you didn't even like very much because of a great boss? Yeah.
Barbara Glanz is recognized as the employee motivation and retention expert. She is the author of several best-selling books, including her most recent book with Ken Blanchard, Simple Truths of Service, inspired by Johnny the Bagger. With a master's degree in adult learning, Barbara has diligently researched hundreds of practical ideas for creating and maintaining a joyful work environment while achieving a healthy life balance.
Question number 1, what percentage of American workers are giving their very best to their jobs? What percentage of American workers are giving their very best to their jobs today? And question number 2, what percentage of American workers told us that last year they got no appreciation for the good work they had done all year? What percentage said they got no appreciation for the good work they had done last year? Okay, we'll come back to those in a minute. Now, I have some beliefs about what makes a great organization. And I think, first of all, your bullseye is your product or service. You have got to be good at that. And that involves quality, cost, delivery. Around that is your caring customer service and how you're treating the people that you work with. And you're working hard at that. But surrounding all of that, my belief is you need to have a culture of joy. That your workplace, even though maybe your work is not always joyful, that your workplace should be a place of joy. Do you agree with me on that? See, the newest research says that we spend over half our lives in our workplaces. And so they should be places of caring and creativity and joyfulness where we can be the best that we can be. Because of my master's degree in adult education, I have the expertise to design a program that really does cause behavior change. And to do this, I use what I call the MSA formula. I use models for understanding, stories for remembering, and action ideas for implementation. I'm a very visual person. I love to create models because they help me get my hands around things. And I created this little model for myself about 8 or 9 years ago because I wanted to be able to see and measure the difference I could make every day. And this is true of every one of us in this room. So every time we interact with somebody, we have a choice. We can create for that other person a minus, a 0, or a plus. If we discount them, make them feel less important than us or our organization, they're going to leave with a minus. If we just take care of their business, that's our slot fillers. It's really just a 0. Or we can make a human level connection. And every time we make that connection, we leave somebody feeling more valuable, just a little bit better because they interacted with us. Now, I have this in my head, and when I go through the checkout line at the grocery store, I try my hardest to create a plus for the person at the cash register because nobody notices them. Now, my biggest challenge is the toll booth, but you can do it. Folks, it is so much fun to live your life like this. Because as you connect with people, just sort of out of the clear blue sky, it's like watching a flower bloom. You know, they just come alive because somebody noticed them. Somebody saw them as a person.
And she is an internationally renowned motivational speaker and author, Barbara Glanz.
Barbara Glanz is a consultant who travels the country teaching companies and
Simple action ideas that people can use.
And the author is Barbara Glanz, who's a speaker.
She's done the research. Barbara's books are filled with ideas and techniques organizations are doing all over the world.
Will anyone who has ever had a traffic ticket please stand up? Oh my goodness! Will anyone who's ever met someone famous please stand up? Met someone famous. All right, now everybody look around. These will be some great stories to ask people to share about who they met and how. You know, you can have great fun with that exercise with your team, and you can build in some serious things that you want to know at the same time. I'd like to ask you from now on, whenever you have a meeting, that you start that meeting, and by the way, it can be a meeting in your school, your church, your community, any meeting that you go to. Ask if you can start that meeting with 3 minutes of good news. Just ask anybody in the meeting to share any good thing that's happened in their family, in their community, on the job, anything good. So it is changing the whole feeling to focus on what's gone right instead of what's gone wrong. How many of you are willing to give that a shot? Okay, let me see your hands. You can do it. Yes, you can. And he came up to me afterwards and he said, you know what, Barbara, I have the lowest performing team in the whole organization. He said, never once have they ever met their goals, and I have tried a whole lot of things. But he said, you got me thinking. 10 months later, he called me back on the phone. He was ecstatic on the phone. He said, I have to tell you what happened. He said, right after you were there, I got the whole group together, and I said to them, okay, any of you who meet your goals this quarter, I'm going to call your mothers. And he said every single one of them met their goals for the first time ever. So my bottom line belief is you will never get employees to treat customers better than they're being treated themselves.
Barbara is a past member of the Board of Directors for the National Speakers Association, having spoken in all 50 states and recently the only speaker on record to have spoken on 7 continents. Barbara is truly the embodiment of her personal motto, spreading contagious enthusiasm, one organization at a time.
And one of the things when I walk around and talk to people in an organization, I often ask them, what is your work? What do most people tell me when I ask them that question? Job title or a job description. And what I want to say to everybody in this room, and for you to take back to all your employees, we are all so much more than a job title or a job description. And so what I want you to think about when you think about what is your work is this. How is what you and you and you and you, how is what you do every single day making somebody's life better? That's your work. And you see, that says you have a mission and a purpose. And I don't care if you clean the toilets, you know, or if you run the whole organization. How is what you do every day making somebody's life better? And as people begin to believe that and have that vision and that hope, then these moments of truth will turn around and make a real difference for your whole organization.